And a very happy Friday to you at 12:08 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, we're in a really interesting new era where the platform to really get your message out, if you're running for, let's say, governor of California, is to do podcasts and talk for a very long time and answer questions about things that you would never get to in a 6-minute interview on television. Antonio Villaraigosa went on a podcast called the Social Venture Podcast and started talking about his favorite candy.
I saved my own money, and I wouldn't spend it on anything. I'd ask my mother for the candy, and my favorite candy back then, and still is, M&M's.
Oh, wow. Regular?
No, peanut. No, peanut. I love M&M peanuts.
Well, isn't he at that stage in his life where his favorite candy should be Sugar Daddies?
Or Werther's Originals? He wanted to point out during this podcast that, hey, I'm as old as Jerry Brown was when he ran for governor again.
So that's the argument, huh?
No, peanut.
He decided to do that at the same time all the tell-all books about Joe Biden being senile are launching.
I love M&M peanuts.
What's happened to his voice?
It's got an extra gravelly.
No, peanut.
He sounds like he's high on marijuana.
No, peanut.
Maybe he's making peanut M&M cookies with pot in them.
No, peanut.
I was listening to this podcast because this is what I do with my life, and I'm prepping dinner, and I hear this, and I stop everything, and I could not stop laughing.
No, peanut.
And that microphone sounds like it's halfway down his esophagus.
No, peanut.
All right. Well, I'm sure his campaign's off to a great start. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, yesterday we gave you an update on Tesla road rage, man. And Randy, today we have yet another update.
Because it's never an isolated incident with this guy, just like he attacked several cars before he was arrested in the Los Angeles area and then convicted and sentenced to 5 years, where he spent 10 months before he was paroled. Went to Hawaii, and we know about the attack on the woman in the car with her mother. Well, turns out before that, he also attempted to assault somebody at a gym. Now, John, as you know, whenever there's a story like this, I try to listen to every local station to see who has the best rap. And KCAL has the best rap, but ABC7 has an intro to the piece by Mark Brown. So what we have to do is first play that, then we'll play the piece from KCAL.
Let's hear the living legend himself, Mark Brown.
ABC7 Eyewitness View.
Get away from me!
What's going on? Stop recording, you. Tonight at 11, off the road and into a gym, the notorious Tesla terrorist now accused of...
Tesla terrorist!
Still not as good as the best one he's given.
Naked and unafraid and just a feet away from the Beverly Hills border. As the tents go up, the clothes come off, and now outraged locals are fighting back against the nudity, narcotics, and negative impact on their businesses.
He's the best.
Tonight at 11, off the road and into a gym, the notorious Tesla terrorist now accused of accosting a woman while working out. Now the woman who captured this video is speaking out about the frightening encounter. And just moments ago, we got a new mugshot of Nathaniel Radamak, taken just after he got out of the hospital after being beaten up by other inmates earlier this week.
Now, here's what's weird about all of this. When you just read the details about what this guy did, you have a certain image in your head as to what he looks like. And I guess I assumed he looked like someone who was pretty haggard. This guy is one of the most attractive criminals I've seen since Luigi Mangione.
Tesla road rage guy is ripped.
I wonder if when he gets through all this drama, he's going to have a bunch of women online proposing to him, too.
Well, if they've seen some of the videos of some of the things he's done to women, maybe they'll stay away. Then again, there's a certain breed that's into that.
There's a certain breed that's willing to go up to a state prison for a conjugal visit. Not as many as there used to be, but still.
Well, there's definitely two less.
God rest their souls.
All right, now let's go to KCAL as we explain the latest video to come out on, as Mark Brown calls him, Tesla terrorist. Obligatory, you have to start the piece with that.
It's great sound.
He terrorized drivers.
We've been playing that sound because this guy has been in the news for like 4 years now.
Well, and when they let him out, we'll have some fresh new sound to play on the radio.
He terrorized drivers with his violent road rage attacks, and tonight a new accuser says he's not just violent while driving.
Yeah, Nathaniel Radamak served time for attacking cars and nearly a dozen drivers in Southern California.
And now he's facing new felony charges for this, punching a teenager in Hawaii after the girl asked him to slow down while her mother taught her how to parallel park.
She did throw her tea at him, but still, that's no excuse. Or excuse me, iced coffee.
Well, it sounds like they both have tempers.
Well, you got to understand how Hawaii works. If you're doing something like passing somebody and you don't throw out a shaka, they know you're not a local and they want to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Screw you, Howley. You throw up the shaka, everything's good. Also, let the locals pass you on the road to Hana because they drive like mad. They drive like animals.
Doesn't that drive take like 7 hours?
Yes.
And tonight, another woman's coming forward claiming Radamak attacked her too.
Oh, she's scared, but she is speaking out, and she has video of their run-in at a gym.
Everyone's first instinct is to film this guy.
Well, and the video is dramatic because he takes a swing at her and misses. But did you see her footwork?
Yeah.
That woman has more moves than the Temptations.
Walk up again.
Say that again.
I walked past the machine he was using, and he came up behind me and said, "Hey, do me a favor, don't walk past my machine when I'm using it again."
That went from 0 to 100 real fast.
I think we're starting to understand where all of this comes from. I don't have any proof outside of all the videos. I think he's Tesla roid rage guy.
If that's what kind of hair-triggered temper this guy has, now you all understand why he got beat up in prison.
And I was so taken aback, so I just said, "Don't talk to me like that." And then he said, "You want to try me, bitch? I'll
This is at a Planet Fitness.
One that had people working out all over the place in it. So everyone's watching this interaction.
Well, obviously, this is a man who should not be in regular society. But the state of California said, nah, we're going to let him out.
No, he's like a dog with rabies.
You want to try me, bitch? I'll sock you right in your face."
Whoa.
And he means what he says.
And that's when she took out her phone.
Yeah, imagine this language that we've heard him say to several women, whether it's California or Hawaii, but then used against another inmate in a Honolulu jail.
Not going to work out.
"I'll sock you right in your face."
And that's when she took out her phone and hit record.
What is your problem?
I'm telling you right now, things ain't looking good for you.
Seconds later, he took a swing at her, alarming bystanders.
Why are you recording?
Get away from me.
What's going on?
She's a good dodger. But this guy obviously has no sense of what has happened to him in the past and no guilt over what's happened to him in the past, openly ready to assault a young woman in public in front of several witnesses.
At no point has he even attempted to modify his bad behavior.
Yet the state of California said this man is deemed to re-enter society less than 1 year into a 5-year sentence.
We should go back and find all of these reports that have been written by the social workers and prison psychologists and all of these buffoons that believe in that psychological mumbo jumbo, and they come up with excuses to let these people out early. I would love to find those reports and read them on the radio.
The woman said Radamak came so close to hitting her.
It was a hair. It was a hair away. It happened so quick. I saw him getting close to me, so I was automatically I guess in defense mode.
After the incident, the woman used...
She moved that back foot quick.
She did.
After the incident, the woman used this screenshot from the video to do an image search of the man, and his face was matched to headlines of Nathaniel Radamak, who is...
Can you imagine she's at her computer trying to figure out who is this guy who would openly try to punch me at a Planet Fitness, and then she sees all the YouTube videos of the slam heard round the world. And she gets to find out, wait a second, wasn't that guy supposed to be in prison?
Well, she also got off easy.
Who was convicted in Southern California for a string of road rage attacks. He was sentenced to a 5-year term, but paroled after 10 months.
California at its best.
And Gavin Newsom says that we held this man accountable.
And don't forget, all the parole board people, those are people appointed by Gavin Newsom.
The 38-year-old made headlines again in Oahu for this attack on May 7th. Court records show he assaulted 2 women on a street.
I heard somebody say, slow down, or hey, and then a few seconds later, I saw the car make a U-turn and come back, and then I saw the guy go across the street and reach into the car and look like it punched her.
That would be an accurate description.
On Monday, Radamak appeared in court on unrelated charges. He's also facing 3 felonies for the May 7th attack.
I wanted him to be caught, and I did not want him to hurt another woman because I knew it was just a matter of time. If no one did anything, he was going to do it again.
Get away from me!
What's going on?
It's just nonstop with this guy.
Can't he punch some woman in the face in a red state so we can put him in prison for a long time?
Oh, Radamak is being held in Hawaii on $100,000 bail.
He was scheduled to make another court appearance today, but that didn't happen. And here's why. As we reported yesterday, the serial attacker was himself attacked in jail and beaten by his fellow inmates. Well, Mike Rogers...
I love that that's the little button to the story. But, Johnny, there's more.
Well, Mike Rogers on the desk, you have been doing some digging tonight.
So, Mike, could Radamak's parole in California then be revoked because of these new incidents?
Yeah, so Pat and Susie, we've been looking into that, and there is a kind of process for all of that. I want to be first off and tell you that in Hawaii, he is not being held on any type of parole violation. So it doesn't appear yet that the state of California has asked the state of Hawaii to hold him on any kind of violation. It's also unclear.
No, because we don't care if people violate their parole. How many stories do we do of repeat offenders that violated their parole or violated their probation and nothing happens to them?
No, parole and probation are totally meaningless terms. This guy violated his probation or his parole, whichever one he's on, and it's all over the news. In fact, it's the lead story here locally. So the state of California is aware of what this guy did, and they choose not to blow the whistle?
To hold him on any kind of violation. It's also unclear if he is still actively on parole. He should be, based on the timeline of how long he was in custody and what he was sentenced to, but we are waiting for the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation to give us that final confirmation. I do want to show you, though, some previous convictions from Radamak. Radamak has a very long criminal history, 9 different states, as you see there, for all kinds of things.
This guy has 9 different states of criminal records.
So no one's been able to modify his behavior.
Criminal history, 9 different states, as you see there, for all kinds of things: assault, vandalism, elder abuse, criminal threats, stalking, theft, driving without a license. Many of these actually stem back to Hawaii. When I was looking through his court records today, he has a criminal history, all of them involving cars, traffic violations, or what they call traffic crimes, dating back to 2011. I also want to show you a new...
So wait, he was a criminal in Hawaii before he was a criminal in California, and then when he gets out of California, he goes back to Hawaii?
What does this say about the criminal justice system in California and Hawaii? I'm telling you, we need this guy to move to Montana, and then they'll take care of it.
I also want to show you a new photo of Radamak. That was his first photo. This is his second photo after it appears he returned from the hospital, because you can see he is very beaten up in this photo. Black eyes, what appears to be a busted nose as well, standing in front of that height board there in the Hawaii Department of Corrections. Now, we also know that he was supposed to be in court, as you mentioned. He was not. The case was held over until May 22nd. He is still in the custody of the Hawaii Department of Corrections as a result of what he is now facing, those new allegations, those 3 assault charges for what happened to that mom and her daughter. It's unclear if charges will be filed in that gym incident, and we'll have to wait.
Well, there's video of that one.
How could you not charge him with something after looking at that video?
That was criminal threats and attempted assault.
And we'll have to wait and see.
Just because you swung and missed doesn't mean that it doesn't count.
No, and that's probably a violation of his probation.
And we'll have to wait and see if the state of California wants to violate his parole. A couple ways that could happen. They could just issue a warrant and bring him back on parole violation, or if he gets picked up here in the state of California, it all really depends on the specific type of parole that he's on and the conditions of his parole. As soon as we hear back from CDCR, we'll be sure to let you know.
What do you think the chances are the state of California actually wants to violate his parole and put this guy back in prison?
No, they have no interest in doing that. They figure let Hawaii handle it.
Throw him in Mauna Loa.
Oh, yeah. Enjoy your time in jail in Hawaii, where the square pizza has pineapple and ham on it. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, we're knocking on the door of the weekend. And while we don't produce new live shows on Saturday and Sunday, if you want to, you can listen to us all weekend long.
You can listen to us, and there are so many ways to do it. Search for The John Phillips Show on Apple Podcasts. Search for us on iHeartRadio, Spotify. Subscribe, download all the episodes. Share the episodes with your friends or any Facebook groups that talk about local stuff that you want to share with everyone. And the great thing about a podcast is you can listen to it in the background while you're cooking, while you're eating dinner, even if you're eating dessert, like, I don't know, M&M's, regular or...
Oh, peanut.
But right now we have an update for you on a neighborhood in South L.A. that's being terrorized by a homeless encampment.
There is a part of South L.A. that is a jurisdictional hellhole. That means that parts of it, we're not sure if this is L.A. City land, L.A. County land, unincorporated land, Caltrans land, or federal land. And there are homeless encampment fires every single day, as well as a lot of illegal dumping, everything from appliances to raw pork.
We did a story on that many moons ago. And at the time, I remember thinking, this was the most bonkers story of the year.
It gets worse.
Oh, dear.
For more on this South L.A. neighborhood, remember when Holly Mitchell was trying to rebrand this area as South Los? It didn't take. Here is Fox 11 News.
There is an area in L.A. County that has gotten so bad, rubbish fires and illegal dumping happens every single day. Business owners and community members just can't take it anymore.
Yes, but did they vote to reelect Holly Mitchell? Yes, they did.
They just reelected her.
Fox 11's Haley Winslow joins us live from South LA with a story you'll see only on Fox 11. Haley?
Christine and Alex, we're right outside of Station 64 here in Watts, and firefighters say easily 95% of the fires that they go on are these homeless fires.
95% of the fires that this Watts fire station has to go out for are homeless fires.
I didn't even think it was possible for one group of people to represent 95% of all the fires.
Christine and Alex, we're right outside of Station 64 here in Watts, and firefighters say easily 95% of the fires that they go on are these homeless fires. They literally just pulled back into the station from one. This report details 500 of them since January 1st, and that's just
500 fires in under 5 months.
And no one's going to bust up the encampments.
This is government failure at its most obvious.
If you're a firefighter and you work in that area, you have to know that it's a game of whack-a-mole that's never going to end.
since January 1st, and that's just the city. Double that if you include the county fires. And those...
Wait a second. Okay, so in just this one area where some of it's LA City, some of it's LA County, some of it's Caltrans land, 500 fires by LAFD, 500 more fires by LA County FD.
That's totally ridiculous.
For one plot of land.
1,000 fires already? It's May.
1,000 fires, all up until the month of May.
The county fires, and those are just the fires. The other stories you're about to hear, you just won't believe.
It's pretty lawless out here. I feel like people feel unsafe. The kids aren't allowed to go outside on their own without, being with adult supervision.
Worse in recent years, but Cesar Verdeen says it's been going on for the nearly half a century his family has run a real estate and manufacturing business here. Advanced Finishing in LA's South Bay, a monkey junction of jurisdictions.
I never heard that term before.
Me either.
A monkey junction of jurisdictions.
So right now you're on federal property. This belongs to Union Pacific Railroad. Now we're going into Caltrans, which is state property. And then that area out there is the city of Los Angeles.
Unincorporated LA County also included in the gray area, and they all point fingers.
Every single time you're in an unincorporated jurisdictional mess, or as was described on Fox 11, a monkey junction, you have government that won't do a damn thing for you.
But it's all one neighborhood. So you have a neighborhood where it's just complete lawlessness because no one's there to enforce anything.
This is the 110 portion of the 110-105 interchange, and you may recognize the 110 and this music playing. It's from the famous opening scene of La La Land when traffic is stopped and they're all dancing.
Yes, that movie was a fantasy. That freeway never looked that clean.
Imagine if in La La Land they had homeless fires going on in the background and all the other chaos.
And it's continuously, for years, home to all of these rubbish, homeless fires and trash. More than 1,000 fires here since January.
That number, it's hard to believe unless you live here and you see this. That is unacceptable. Every person in charge has got to go.
And no one can buy insurance now in the entire state because of the fire risk. You have a lawless encampment that's starting 1,000 fires already this year. And you're so concerned about the insurance crisis, you won't do anything about the homeless encampment that keeps starting all the fires?
More than 1,000 fires here since January. This is part of the report and a video of about 100 tires recently on fire under the overpass.
100 tires?
No wonder the air quality hasn't really gotten any better in 20 years.
And it's not even a warehouse. Have you ever seen a tire fire before? It looks like Michael Jackson being cremated. There's not a natural fiber in any of it.
Crime. These are masked men who rolled up with AK-47s.
Whoa! We're not done.
Graffiti and illegal dumping.
We have 400 pounds of pork shoulder.
This is real life.
400 pounds of pork shoulder?
I hope all of our listeners in Oakland can understand it can get worse. Oakland is bad, but it's not as bad as this mess.
It's not even close to being this bad.
We have 400 pounds of pork shoulder marinating on Figueroa and 127th that was dumped overnight. And then on Saturday, we had 1,000 pounds of pork ribs.
Okay, that's not someone who lives in the neighborhood. Those are restaurants understanding that that this area is just anything goes. So if you have something you need to get rid of, just come by in the middle of the night and leave it there, and it's okay.
Well, if they're not going to do anything about the 1,000 fires, they're not going to do anything about you dumping thousands of pounds of pork.
Clearly they won't.
Dumped on the street.
The bodies being dumped on the railroads.
Whoa. This is straight up lawlessness.
Okay, if you dump a body on the railroad, though, and the train hits it.
Well, I'm glad you asked, John. There's more.
Oh, God.
And listen to this.
There was a woman laying in the middle of the tracks, and the train couldn't stop in time, so it hit her, and it severed her leg. And then a homeless person actually took the leg into an encampment.
Wow, the high cost of housing is really getting to them.
Let me just play that for you one more time, just in case you thought you were hallucinating.
There was a woman laying in the middle of the tracks, and the train couldn't stop in time, so it hit her, and it severed her leg. And then a homeless person actually took the leg into an encampment.
She's not half the woman she used to be.
Thank God it wasn't in the storm drain, because we have people living in the storm drain right now.
This isn't a third world country. This is a fifth world country.
And Gavin Newsom wants to be the president.
Community advocate Dave Matthews.
Not that Dave Matthews.
No, that guy would not be anywhere near this neighborhood.
Community advocate Dave Matthews found the woman's leg at the 110 and Redondo Beach Boulevard, an area recently...
Hey, there's just a leg sitting there. Nothing to see here. Just a loose leg.
Does this belong to Mary or Pam?
Found the woman's leg at the 110 and Redondo Beach Boulevard, an area recently cleaned up.
You could actually smell the jasmine on the street, which usually you know what it smelled like before.
But this 8-square-mile danger zone has a long way to go. Their constant plea for local leaders' help, they say, lost down a dark hole.
And they reelected all of their representation.
Holly Mitchell was up for election last year. Could have done something about this, but no, we continued to reward the queen of housing first.
They're hoping the governor's latest plan makes a drastic dent.
It won't.
Of course not.
Again, part of this land is Caltrans. That's directly what Gavin is responsible for. But no, it's more finger pointing. And Gavin did that whole performative press conference where he talked about the budget, saying this is all local leaders' fault. Well, you know which local leaders he never directly wants to go after? The LA County Board of Supervisors and the mayor of Los Angeles, where the majority of the problem is.
It's interesting that he won't directly confront them, because this is what he's done in the past when they've done things that piss him off. When he wanted them to get rid of the fake doctor and they wouldn't do it, he would never publicly criticize them. He would lobby them in private, and they said no, and he just moved on.
He won't even get on the phone to talk to the mayor of Turlock. He's not calling Holly.
Nope. But I'm sick and tired of all the barriers and all the BS and all the excuses. So that's the spirit of this model ordinance.
Because this family is quickly losing hope.
We just want some law and order. Everyone.
We'd all like to have two legs.
Well, not all of us can have that.
We just want some law and order. Everyone pays their taxes. California is one of the most expensive states to live in, and we feel like our tax money should be coming up with solutions instead of the problems getting bigger.
Governor Newsom's model ordinance gets rid of any legalities when it comes to, gives local jurisdictions the ability to make positive change when it comes to these homeless encampments.
It's, by the way, the exact same executive order he put out last year when Grants Pass happened. And you know what happened? The LA County Board of Supervisors put out a motion saying, we refuse to do anything about this. We refuse to clear the encampments.
And Gavin just refuses to acknowledge that neighborhoods like this exist. If you were to bring this up, he would say that's right-wing propaganda. It's not true.
Governor Newsom's model ordinance gets rid of any legalities when it comes to, gives local jurisdictions the ability to make positive change when it comes to these homeless encampments. For instance, if encampments are there for more than 3 days, or if they're sleeping on the sidewalk, this
encampment's been there and has 1,000 fires in 5 months.
And it's beyond sleeping on the sidewalks. These people were sleeping on the train tracks.
On the sidewalk. This gets rid of any excuses and allows them to make positive change. Reporting live in Watts, I'm Haley Winslow at Fox 11 News.
There you go. Complete Deadwood-style lawlessness in South Los Angeles, and nobody wants to be held responsible for it.
Okay, I don't want this to get too graphic, but if you get run over by a train, how do you survive that? And how is it that only one leg got chopped off and not two?
Well, if one leg was on the tracks and the other was not on the tracks, and I don't know, you cauterize the wound by taking it over to a homeless fire.
But if you're concerned about the safety of one leg, wouldn't you think you'd be concerned about the safety of the other leg and remove that one from the tracks too?
Well, that's logical thinking, but you have to be thinking how a methy would think.
And the train just ran it over and knocked it clean off. Wouldn't you think it would just explode? Like if you drop a watermelon? How did the leg get severed and remain intact?
Why did the homeless person take the severed leg? What did they do with it?
Kids, it's like the day after the end of the world. I can't explain virtually anything that you just heard. Well, Randy, the email over in the mailbag has exploded.
John writes in, why did the homeless person cross the street? To get the severed leg.
It's funny because it's true.
This has been a wild week where the stories are starting to get so unbelievable. Even the most creative writer in Hollywood couldn't come up with this nonsense.
At what point, with all the homeless that we have all over the state, at what point did they become Looney Tunes characters?
All right, John, here's the question. Which story this week was more bonkers? This one?
There was a woman laying in the middle of the tracks, and the train couldn't stop in time, so it hit her, and it severed her leg. And then a homeless person actually took the leg into an encampment.
Or this one?
Michael believes the intruder was in his home for several hours and spent a lot of time in the kitchen.
He ate a box of ice cream sandwiches. He ate Dole Whip, a whole box of Beyond Beef burgers. He stuck in the microwave, cooked them, and then ate them.
And Michael's stash of chewing gum.
I was at dinner the other night, and I was trying to explain that story to someone, and they didn't believe me. They thought I was taking liberties with some of the details. And I kept trying to explain, listen, I'm just doing the story straight here. This is exactly what happened. What do you think tourists think when they come to California to go to Disneyland or see the Golden Gate Bridge or, I don't know, go to Yosemite and they turn on the local news and this is what they see?
Well, they decide that next year they're going to Florida.
Is it only me, or are the crime stories just getting more outrageous day to day?
We've been covering the crime stories up and down the state of California on a daily basis for 5 years. I can honestly say they've never been crazier than in 2025.
What do you think is the driving force? Is it the meth?
Yes.
Yeah, during the 80s when everyone was on that crack cocaine, the crack cocaine didn't make them do this.
Meth will constantly deteriorate your brain, so the longer we have people who are doing meth on the streets, the crazier they're going to get.
If you're thinking about trying meth, just remember this. At a certain point, if you do enough of it, you're going to think it's a good idea to fall asleep on train tracks. That's the end of the story. No more frying pan and egg in the ads. We just need to tell the kids that at a certain level, they're going to fall asleep on train tracks and get run over by the train.